Hey everybody, Kelly Engineering here, and welcome to episode 9 of Journey Across the Void. In between episodes, I was quite busy. What I did was I moved everything over to these two platforms and reset everything back up. So I have my Void Ore miners and my Void Resource miners still going. It's still giving me everything and transporting over to my ME system over here. And yeah, that was mainly the bulk of it. I also got an XP cow. Not really an XP cow, it was Essence of Knowledge. However, Essence of Knowledge can be directly converted into XP. So I had that going, I set it up, had it going for about 12 hours. I just did my business, went to sleep, and had quite a bit of XP by the time it was all done. So I set up all that XP into this Singularity tank, gave myself a XP tap, and then gave myself 463 levels because of it. So yeah, I have unlimited XP at this point. I also started building the Triskelion. I have the Kelly construction episode in progress, but I had to stop it because I need bone meal. The main thing that the walls are going to be made out of is white porcelain, and white porcelain requires either a consistent supply of netherrack or bone meal. So I'm going to get into deep mob learning, set up a skeleton pretty much set up a skeleton portion of deep mob learning and have unlimited bone meal so I can make unlimited white porcelain. Yeah, that's going to be the focus of this episode, so without further ado, let's get to it. Another thing in between episodes is I updated the pack to 16.8, and 16.8 came with some changes, mainly adding coal, sand, clay, and lapis to my gravel sieves. That required me to, of course, set up this filter so that nothing was clogging up this chest. But, yeah, it was a simple change. And, of course, it's another blood moon. But, other than that, everything else is superficial and or stuff I haven't gotten into yet. Like, a lot of the changes happened with Galacticraft. When I was doing the Kelly construction episode, I started hammering up and sieving smoothstone. And when you sieve up smoothstone, you actually get gravel that gives you Galacticraft resources. I wanted that mainly because the Galacticraft Magnesium made a floor tile that I may have wanted, but yeah, that would have been unfeasible because I would require a lot of magnesium, and I am not ready to set up the full breadth of what my sieving is capable of. So yeah, those are two other things that happened in between episodes. So to get into deep mob learning, the first thing you're going to need is a block of coal, a piece of redstone, right-click that redstone. Left-click that redstone, and you will get soot-covered redstone. Combine that with a book inside a crafting station, and I have the deep mob learning instruction manual. I have not messed with this mod nearly as much as I probably should have at this point. When we were doing the Omnifactory series, Proteus was the one who set most of this up, so I have to learn this all over again. It's just something about this mod. The data doesn't stick in my brain, so I always have to refresh myself whenever I start it. But yeah, deep mob learning. This is where we start. So the first thing that we're going to have to create is a deep learner right here, which is made with the soot-covered plates. The soot-covered plates are easy to make. It's just obsidian and soot-covered redstone, and you get 8 of them. So I've made a full stack, even though I don't even think I need a full stack. I will have to make some machine casings later on. But regardless, I have the deep learner, and I'm also going to make 4 blank data modules for now. What I'm going to use these blank data modules for is I'm going to combine them in a crafting grid with whatever mob I want them to be. So here we go. I'm going to go with Enderman, Blaze, Skeleton, and Zombie for now. And I'm going to throw them into my deep learner. You can have 4 slots for them. Here we go. Alright, so now that they are in my deep learner, all I have to do is go kill the mobs associated with whatever modules I'm using, and I will gain data for them. So right now the tier is faulty, but as I kill them, I will collect data, and the more data that I collect on these, the better the rewards whenever I actually end up putting these in machines. The skeletons, endermen, and zombies are easy to make, are easy to get. The blaze is a little bit more. Actually, no, I still have that spawner for blaze, so the blaze isn't going to be difficult either. But I'm going to go get these two. I don't even know what level I want to get them at yet. But I am going to go kill these mobs, and I'll be back with you shortly. So I'm doing pretty well right now, but I have discovered something. The variants of skeletons do not count. The variants of creepers or zombies or whatever, they have to be whatever the vanilla mob is in order to count for data in my data modules. So you see that I just, oh, my zombie model reached self-aware tier, which is the highest tier. I'm ready to swap it out. I also made a dank null because the amount of things I've been killing, I've been having to go to my chest and drop off everything way too quickly. So all mob drops are now in here, including all the cyberware stuff. So, yeah, now that I have self-aware, my Enderman and Zombie are the self-aware tier, and I'm ready to begin the next part. Now that we've got the data modules that we're worried about, I'm going to make a simulation chamber. I have enough to make 3 because at the end of this I do want 3. But for now I'm only worried about skeletons. I really need that bone meal. So I have 1 simulation chamber, and I'm going to make a loot fabricator for a little bit later. And polymer clay. So this recipe right here, which is 64 iron, gold, lapis, and then 4 stacks of clay, will make you 16 stacks of polymer clay. I've already filled up an entire chest worth. But yeah, this polymer clay is going to be needed to run through the simulation chamber. This, combined with power and the data module, which are all in here, are going to create me the pristine matter that I want and the regular matter. Here we go, the Overworldian Matter that's going to allow me to... actually, yeah, I'll get into the Overworldian Matter after I've actually created some. But for now, let's get all this set up. So I got a basic and easy setup going over here. It's right in the middle of the field of the Triskelion, mainly because I didn't build that platform over there for expandability. That's just a placeholder until I have at least the first floor of the Triskelion. But here's the simulation chamber and the loot fabricator. For the simulation chamber, all you have to do is insert the data module. It goes right here, and then over here are 3 slots. One for where the polymer clay is going to go, one for whatever matter you happen to be creating. So in this case, it's going to be Overworldian Matter. And then over here is a bonus, depending on the tier that your data module's at. So mine is self-aware, which means I have a 42% chance of getting a pristine skeleton matter. Yeah, 42% for self-aware. So I'm going to throw in some polymer clay, and you'll see that it is now working. It's working pretty quickly. I am actually not sure whether or not the tier... Yeah, okay, so it just completed 1 run, and I got pristine skeleton matter out of it, as well as my Overworldian matter. And yeah, this is about the speed that it's going to be going. So I went and got 2 other models, my Witch model and my Wither module. So my Wither module, I have not actually killed any... I've definitely killed Withers with this thing installed. But anyway, so the Wither is at faulty, and the Witch is at basic. And if I try to put the Wither module in here, it's not going to work because there's insufficient data in the module. So you actually do have to kill something in order for it to work. But the Witch basic module, since it's at basic, the pristine chance is at 5%. The speed is exactly the same. Really, the only thing that changes between modules is the amount of power that you use. So there we go. All right, so it went and gave me my Overworldian Matter. So I have my item conduit set up right here because I just discovered that you have to insert your polymer clay in through the top. You can't do it via the back or the sides. However, you can export from the side, so that's no problem whatsoever. I have my pristine matter and my Overworldian Matter going into this chest. And yeah, I'm going to let my skeleton continue to go. Oh, also, so you see the iterations 26? This is how many times that it's actually run through the this entire process here. So it's going to be the same. It doesn't reset. This is specific to the data module. And one more thing. The Wither data module, you see that its simulation cost is 2048 RF per tick. It doesn't matter what tier you're going to be at for any of these data modules. The power, the simulation cost, will always be the same. So I started out on my skeleton data module with 80 RF a tick. Even though it's at self-aware tier, it is still only taking 80 RF a tick from me. Now that I've had the simulation chamber running for a while, I think it's actually time that we use our Overworldian Matter. So I have a bone here just to illustrate the fact that with a piece of bone meal and Overworldian Matter, I can get 22 bones out of this. So I can turn 1 bone into 66 bones. It's super handy. However, the real thing that I can use the pristine skeleton matter for is throwing it into the loot fabricator. If you throw it into the loot fabricator, it'll give you an option to choose what you want out of this. So I can get skeleton skulls, 64 arrows, inferium essence, or bones. Of course I want the bones, so it's going to take that and turn it into 32 bones for me. So instead of getting the 66 bones out of one bone, I can use the pristine skeleton matter to get 32 bones. I have 2 ways to get a lot of bones very quickly, and all of that bone meal is going to become the porcelain for me. So that is really my end game here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to automate all of this. So the automation of creating the polymer clay, the automation of throwing the Overworldian matter into a crafter with bones and bone meal, in order to craft more bones, and then throw in the pristine matter into here in order to make all of these bones. I'm going to throw it all into a massive chest, and all of those bones are going to be converted into bone meal combined with clay. I need to set up an automation for clay. It's going to be a whole thing. So as I set, this is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do. I actually want to show my full process for this and my full line of thinking. So I'm going to set down every single piece and explain where it goes in the entire chain, because this is like 6 or 7 different things happening at once, all for the end goal of making white porcelain. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to make my setup for automating lapis, and I'm running into a problem where I need cryothium dust. I have no way of getting cryothium dust right now, with the exception of these freezing dolls. I got this particular freezing doll from a quest reward, but this is what you need to do in order to make them. You just need snowballs and nether wart. I can make these freezing dolls all day, every day, and it's what I'm going to need in order to spawn the blizzes needed to get the cryothium dust, or the blizz rods, and then it becomes the blizz powder. But yeah, that's basically where I am right now, and I'm using freezing dolls for it. Awesome. All right, 3 blizz rods. And I'm going to continue doing this until I have my kit, and then I'm going to be automating the lapis production. So here's the first part of my setup. This is Lapis Creation. So lapis is obviously going to be needed for the polymer clay. So what I have is I have 9 hopping bonsai pots constantly feeding lapis acorns into this redstone furnace. It has been upgraded into resonant level, and it has 4 auxiliary reception coils on the inside of it. It's going very fast. It's not losing any power because my solar cell is more than capable of crafting not crafting, but handling every single machine that's going to be in line here. But yeah, it is taking the lapis and feeding it directly into this small storage crate. And I also have a trash can here that's going to... Oh, hang on. We should probably fix that. There we go. So this trash can is also feeding all of the other extraneous stuff into it, and making sure that only the acorns go in here via the use of a filter. So the next thing that we have to set up is gold. I'm also going to replicate this entire setup for the clay acorns as well. So I was looking up the crafters that are associated with this pack, or at least in this pack, and of course the RF Tools ones are in here, Steve's Carts, whatever. The Cyclic Auto Crafter is probably what I'm going to have to go for, but then the Colored Block Crafter caught my eye, and I may not have to make the porcelain at all. So it says supply cobblestone, craft blocks with cobblestone and dye, put materials in your inventory, and use this. So what does that mean? Like, how do you use this? And I'm sorry that this episode has taken a weird turn, but yeah, it's kind of weird to me. I'm gonna grab some bone meal, and I'm gonna grab some light gray dye as well, and maybe I can get some sort of facsimile of what the white porcelain looks like. So where is my dye? All right, here we are. Light gray dye and bone meal and cobblestone. Oh, and these are the... Oh! So does crafting 1 take, like, is 1 block 1 dye? Yes, it is. Okay, 1 block is 1 dye. Well, that is interesting. And I can make the dye easy enough, but how close is the color? Actually, that color is perfect for the outside. All right. Well, I have committed to making a fully automated white porcelain setup, so I'm going to continue with that. But, Lord, I wish I had seen this earlier. So I made the cyclic auto crafter, and frankly, I don't like it, so I turned around and made the RF Tools crafters. I'm familiar with them anyway, and they allow me to save my internal and external inventory. These do not, so once I run out of gold and iron ingots, it'll immediately start filling up with the clay and lapis. I don't like that, so yeah, we're going to stick with the RF Tools crafters. I'm only going to use the tier 1s because each crafter is only going to be working on one thing, with the exception of the bones into bone meal. So yeah, this is what we're going to stick with. I'm going to set this up real quick. I'm also going to re-tie in the loot fabricator and simulation chamber. I took it out mainly to gauge the amount of distance I'm going to need when all of this is said and done. So here's the setup as it stands right now. I'm set 2 more crafters right here. This crafter is actually accepting all of the bones being created by my loot fabricator and turning it immediately into bone meal. The bone meal is being fed into this crafter, which is going to make unfired porcelain, and is going to set the unfired porcelain right here. And then once all this unfired porcelain is here, it's going to immediately make the unfired porcelain block and throw it into the output. I have one last thing that I need to make, and that is another furnace in order to turn all of this unfired porcelain into the porcelain I can actually use. So instead of making another little bonsai area over here for the clay, I just moved this item conduit all the way over here, and it's on a round robin. I don't use as much clay here because the polymer clay doesn't get filled up nearly as quickly, so once I have a full stack here, it's just going to immediately start feeding into making my unfired porcelain. It was just a matter of waiting for all of the clay to fill in here first. But yeah, this is on a round robin. I have some extract speed upgrades going in here, here, and here, just for good measure. But it's still making the clay pretty slowly. I put some gold and iron in here as just as a quick buffer. I haven't gotten into mystical agriculture or agricraft in order to make the iron or gold seeds. Let's see, what's the gold seed called? Orelli? Yeah. The Auragold. So the Auragold seeds and the Foranum seeds I have not made yet, and I haven't gotten into mystical agriculture to just make the iron or gold seeds anyway. That's going to be something for a later episode. For now, this buffer is more than enough. I have polymer clay for days to keep this thing running for quite a while. It's just a matter of getting my unfired porcelain into a furnace and then into a drawer for some more permanent storage. So I am not making nearly as much progress as I want to with my porcelain. I have already used, what is this, 24 stacks, and it didn't even fill up one portion of the floor. So yeah, I definitely need to double time the amount of clay that I'm making, because that's obviously the bottleneck here. I have more than enough bone meal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit crazy. Let's see here, material stonework factory. I'm going to go a little bit crazy with dust production. So I'm going to use this dust, and I'm going to transport it into... Oh, hello, freezing. And I'm going to transport it into all of these barrels combined with water. And yeah, I'm going to have all of my clay get made that way and go immediately into this crafter. This crafter is going to take the blocks of clay, break it down into the pieces of clay, and they're going to immediately get sucked into here to make my unfired porcelain. So that's how I'm going to double time all of my clay production, so I can actually get decent amounts of porcelain. I don't know, 10 minutes ago I had about 500, so it's not like I'm making... So it's not like the production amount is low by any means, it's just not enough for what I need for my purposes. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm setting this up. And here we go. Everything should be connected now. There it goes. Alright, so the clay is leaving. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, do not want to rotate that. Alright, so the clay is going in. It is generating the regular clay. The regular clay is going out. Oh, there we go. Alright, so my production is now so much faster. Maybe Let's see. How quickly is this leaving? Alright, so it's taking 16 at a time. I may need to put some speed upgrades in this stone factory. But other than that, I think we have solved our problem with clay. I have obviously removed the item conduit connecting over there. And now I just have orange leaving the stonewater factory, going into the barrels, and then white leaving and going into this crafter. Yeah, there are no special things except for the fact that I have extract speed upgrade and round robin on over here. And I have a signalum servo. Eventually I'll upgrade this to a resonant servo because the water, I want it to be instantaneously filling into the barrels. Although this is a good speed, I suppose. Anyway, yeah, I am happy with how this has turned out now. And I think I'm actually just about ready to end this episode. This is all I wanted to accomplish, and I know it's not much, but it's fun to just take a break and create these overly complicated machines that I'm sure is going to look fabulous when I actually can incorporate it into the walls of this massive build. But yeah, now that I have easy access to porcelain, and porcelain's getting made super quickly now, yeah, the building is going to go by a lot quicker. But I am Kelly Engineering, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.